Oh, my hair getting frizzy already. I don't even know how it got wet. Okay. Anyways, hey y'all. Today has been a day. I don't know what kind of day I want to call it, because I don't want to call it a bad day or a weird day, because words have power and I don't like to speak negativity into my day or my life. I try to speak as much positivity and good vibes into my day or world or life as I possibly can, but today has been a day. It's been just something weird. It's just been a gloomy day. It's been raining all day. I woke up like 5 minutes. Technically, I woke up 10 minutes before I was supposed to actually be up for work. 10 minutes before I was supposed to be out the house for work. And for some reason, I hit the snooze and I went back to sleep. I hit the snooze because I wanted to, not for some reason. I really woke up and looked at the clock. I seen that it was 4:50, but instead of getting up, jumping up and getting dressed, I set an alarm. I hit the alarm and went back to sleep for 5 more minutes. And then I got up, got dressed, brushed my teeth, walked out the house, unwrapped my hair. Luckily, I do everything at nighttime, because I do get up so early that if I am running late for anything, I don't have time to do anything in the morning. So, when I walked out the door, I realized it was wet outside. You see my hair? It did not look like this yesterday. I went to the gym yesterday. I did not wrap my hair. When I went to the gym, my hair was poofy, big fuzz ball, curly. I do not have a relaxer in my hair, so my hair curls up instantly at the sign of moisture. Y'all see what's going on here? This was not like this even when I left work a few minutes ago, so I'm gonna have to get this together. I'm gonna have to call my girl, because I look like I might need my ends trimmed again. But I'm in my car. My car is my happy space. I like to sit in my car. I've been at home for probably about 30 to 40 minutes now, sitting in my car. I talked to my sister for a little while, and then I just been sitting out here just chilling, because I've just been out here thinking about a lot of stuff, thinking about how my day has been going, actually my last 2 days, and just really trying to decide, what can I do to make things different? How can I make my life different? How can I make things better? What can I do to make things better? Aside from what I've already been doing, I've been doing a lot of things to try to make things better, but we are living in a different time than we were just 5 years ago, and I am not a single person per se. I do have a relationship. I have a boyfriend, but I live by myself. It's just me and my kids, and they are adults, but technically they're adults, young adults, but they are both not working. I'm the only one in the house working right now, trying to pay all the bills by myself, and the cost of living does not meet the cost of income. You know, they raised our cost of living sky high, but they didn't raise the wages that we make out here. Just to rent a place, to live in the suburbs is a lot, but to live in the inner city nowadays costs the same price that it costs to live in the suburbs. And I don't know when that happened, but I recently moved, out of the house that I was living in with my boyfriend. We were living together, and we decided to part ways living together. We decided not to live together anymore. And I thought I found a place. I did find a place, and it was decent. It was good enough for me and my kids to live in for a little while until I was able to buy a house, because that's actually my goal, is to buy a house. But I can't buy that house for another year or so. And I was just, working on getting some things together. I have a goal. I have some plans, and things just hadn't been going the way that we wanted it to go. My kids both lost their jobs, which is the reason why they're not able to pay their portion of the rent, and I have to pay everything by myself. But even aside from that, I just want to make sure that I can handle everything on my own if I need to. So the house that I moved into, I thought it was okay. And then when I got here a few weeks later, it was raining really bad outside, and the basement flooded. Like, I don't mean just got wet, I mean it flooded. Like, it was a mini swimming pool in my basement. It was a half an inch of water, and I have asthma, and I can't live in a house where the basement's gonna be getting wet all the time. I'll tell y'all a story about that another day, because that is a whole nother thing that we need to talk about. But let's talk about the cost of living right now. And my job, my house hunting. So I've been looking for a new place to live that has at least 3 bedrooms, for me and my kids. And it's just certain requirements that I want. And I've been looking at houses. I've even been looking at going back to an apartment. I haven't lived in an apartment in years. I mean, several years, because I kind of am scarred from living in apartments. The last apartment that I lived in, I moved into, and that apartment had bed bugs, and I didn't know it, because apparently the landlord or owner or whoever is renting the place does not have to let you know that the place has insect problems or an infestation of any sort. I guess because if you know going in, then you won't rent that place. So the apartment that I moved into had bed bugs. Me and my kids were getting bit, and I didn't know what we were getting bit by. I thought it was like fire ants, and I called the leasing office and told them, like, hey, we've been here for like 2 weeks, but something is biting us. And the leasing office sent out an exterminator, and they immediately exterminated for bed bugs. And then after a while, I started looking around, and I noticed that other neighbors didn't have furniture in their house, and my kids were playing with other kids at the building that we lived in. And I was like, wait, y'all are living on fold out chairs. Y'all don't have any chairs in y'all's house. Like, where's your couch? Where's your tables? Like, they didn't have anything. And after I started talking to the neighbors, I found out that the building had been infested for years on and off with bed bugs. And part of the problem was that the other tenants weren't reporting it to the landlord or the leasing agent. And so because of that, they weren't exterminating. But some of the people were, some of them weren't. Some of the people were trying to exterminate on their own because they were embarrassed about it. Other people were. Long story short, leasing agent knew that the building had bed bugs, but they were not taking care of that situation. So when I moved in, me and my kids, we had brand new furniture, and my stuff ended up getting infested with bed bugs, and I had to throw away most of my furniture. And Um, we ended up putting a lot of stuff in storage, and I ended up living with relatives for about 2 or 3 months until I found a place to live. Because I had to abruptly move out. And the only way I got out of my lease is because I basically caused a problem for that apartment complex, because I didn't want to live in a house that had bed bugs. I was on a lease. I just moved in. I was only there for a couple of months. A couple of weeks. And so what I started doing was putting up notes all over the building and around the other buildings in that complex. Like, hey, just letting y'all know, it's bed bugs in this building. The other buildings have it. The bed bug spread. This is how they spread. They're carriers. Blah, blah, blah. And the leasing agent found out about it. They seen some of my notes and they didn't want that there. So they let me out of my lease and gave me my deposit back as long as I was gone before the end of the month. And I was like, yeah, bet, I'm out. But long story short, that is why I have been scarred. And I never want to live in an apartment again, because whenever you live in an apartment, you share everything that your neighbors share. If your neighbors got roaches, you got roaches. If your neighbors got bed bugs, you got bed bugs. If they got rats, you got rats. I don't want to share nothing with my neighbors. Not nothing like that. Not nothing at all, actually. I don't want to share nothing. So from that point on, I have done everything that I had to, that I needed to live in a house on my own, just me and my kids. And I've been doing it. It's been me and my kids for the last like 15 plus years. It's just been me and my kids. But ever since 2020, the cost of living went up, and it's just getting harder and harder, and the cost is just becoming ridiculous. Like, the prices that these places are charging you to live in these raggedy ass houses with no updates is crazy. I've been looking at houses for a long time now, weeks. The stuff that's in my budget is crazy. Like, I can't even believe that some of this stuff is being showed. And the stuff that I like is so far out of my budget that it's ridiculous. The crazy thing is that it's something that I would have been able to afford about 4 years ago, because 4 years ago the price would have never been this high. But just wanted to, I got so off subject because I was talking about I wasn't here to talk about the cost of living or houses. That's a whole nother subject, because we gonna go on a house hunt together. But yeah, my day just been something weird. Like, today has been a weird day. I got this new car about a month and a half ago. Honestly, life has been great for me with a couple of small hiccups. But I got a new car. I love my car. But I came out of work this evening, and when I went to work this morning, it was cold outside, and it was a little raining. And so there's no way in the world that I would have had my windows down. When I got out of my car, my windows was not down. But when I came out of work this afternoon, my freaking windows was down. All four of my windows was down. My car is wet on the inside. All four of my windows was wet. All four window panels wet. All four seats wet. I don't even know how that happened. Do y'all know how that happened? Y'all ever had that happen before? Some of it is still wet. I'm gonna get a towel and like just kind of pat it to kind of pat dry, because I don't want the car to be stinky tomorrow. And I hope it don't happen again, because how the heck? Seriously, have y'all ever had that happen? Yesterday was weird, because for 3 days, for 3 days. My interior lights, right back there, the interior lights been on. I don't even know how they came on. Obviously, I had to have pressed something because I be, playing with stuff. I've never driven a Volkswagen before. So I had to have been playing with stuff in order for these lights to come on. But these lights was on for 3 days. I could not get these lights off. The only way these lights turned off is if I hit the lock button on the car after I turned the car off. So for 3 days, my interior lights back there, not up here, just back there, was on, and I couldn't get it off. I literally had to call the dealership and tell them, like, yo, I don't know why these lights not coming off. I was about to go up there. Like, I was about to make a service call to turn these lights off because I couldn't figure it out. That's that's funny. Like, when he told me what to do, I felt so silly. I literally had to laugh because I even pressed the button that he told me to press, but because the lights was like, I had been hitting the button, turning it off and on, turning it off and on. So apparently I had had them on, in the on position. So when I hit the button to actually turn it off, they were still on. So when he told me how to turn it off, I hit this button and then I hit the button back there to turn them off. And man, they turned off. I was so embarrassed, but he didn't know me personally, so really it was nothing to be embarrassed about. But that was funny. That was funny. But I rode around for 3 days with my interior lights on. 3 days. 3 days! But anyways, y'all, that's something. And then work been work. I really do love my job. Like, I do patient access at the hospital. I love everything about it. It's a very easy job. Like, honestly, it's got to be the easiest job I've ever had in my life. I like the people that I work with most of the time. But yesterday, I low-key got into it. Not even yesterday, the day before yesterday. I low-key got into it with one of my coworkers who normally would be somebody that I hang with. And that was so weird because it was over a seat that didn't even belong to either one of us. And I don't even understand that. But I'm sure that she won't be talking to me for a while. And I don't know how I feel about it because most of the time I don't care. And I really don't think I care right now because I don't. But like, for real, you gonna argue with me over a seat that don't belong to either one of us? If it was, nah. So yeah, I just need to figure this out because, so the house situation, I found a house that I really like. The only house out of probably the last 15-20 houses that I've been looking at. And it's the only house that didn't have a wet basement because, honestly, I've looked at so many houses. I got a whole long list of houses for y'all to look at. Real soon we gonna go house hunting. But I've looked at a lot of houses lately. Almost every single one of these houses have had wet basements. I could smell it. Soon as I walk in the house, man, one house had a mushroom grow out of the ceiling. Have you ever seen a mushroom growing out of the ceiling? I have never. I walked into this house and I looked up and I said, what is that? And the lady looked at it like, what is that? How you don't see the mushroom growing out of the ceiling that I see growing out of the ceiling as soon as I walk in the house? She acted like it was her first time seeing it. But anyways, this house was the only house that didn't have a wet, smelly, damp basement. And the man told me that he was going to get back to me by the end of the week to let me know what his decision was going to be. and he ain't get back to me. So I had a feeling that he decided to go elsewhere. I had a feeling that I wasn't gonna get the house because I was a single person, and I was the only single person looking at this house. Everybody that looked at the house when I went out, because I went to the house twice. The first time I went to the house to look around, it was another couple there looking at the house at the same time. The second time I went to the house to do my application and to drop the application off to him, it was two other couples looking at the house. So I knew that there was couples looking at the house. So couples versus one single person. I had a feeling that he was going to go to the couples versus the single person, just because a couple equals more income than a single person, even though I could afford to pay the rent by myself regardless of the fact. So when I hit him up today just to be like, hey, I just wanted to follow up with you, see if you made a decision, he didn't answer my call. So I just sent him a text message. He replied to my text and said that he did make a decision, but he decided to go elsewhere. He went with a person that made $6,000 a month. So that let me know that he decided to go with a couple, because yeah, it's not really very many people that make $6,000 a month as a single person. Not that's gonna live in the area that I'm living in anyways, or that I chose to live in. Not that's gonna live in that house, because one single person that makes $6,000 a month is not gonna choose to live in this area. They're gonna live somewhere else. In some of those houses that I actually cannot afford. But it is what it is. I'm gonna continue to hunt. Maybe that's just not the house that God had in store for me. I'm gonna keep looking. I live across the street from a gas station, a very, very busy gas station, which is why I keep looking across the street, because I keep hearing noise. Every now and then I hear a siren go down the street, because I live on a main street, and I get a lot of ambulances going down the street. I don't really get that many cop cars going down the street, but ambulances a lot, because at the end of the street that I live on, there is a hospital down the street. So I hear the ambulance go down the street a lot, and I just heard that not too long ago. The first day I lived here, though, actually the first week, not the first day, but my first week living here, there was a police chase. So there is that. It ended right in front of my house with the car slamming into another car and the police arresting somebody, and they were outside for about 3 hours. So that was fun, considering the fact that I go to work at 5:30 in the morning and I have to get up at 4:30. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. I'm going to continue sitting in my happy place for a little while, and then I'm going to go in the house. Maybe I'll go to the gym. I've been doing that every day too. That's also my happy place. I'll see y'all later.